I'm going to segue now into the biggest issue. Now that we've got the winter meeting over and we have got all that behind us in our gala, that was the best part, except for the couple of little blisters on my feet from dancing a little bit. It was a fantastic event. I want you to know we are growing the party. I keep hearing from some of the past chairs, oh no, the party, they're purging, they're getting rid of folks. That isn't the truth. Well, the other night we had over 300 people at the gala. The year before we had 200. So people are listening. I had people I'd never met before come up to me and say, Dorothy, I love your opinion pieces. Dorothy, you've got to keep fighting against ranked choice voting. Dorothy, you have to, make sure that we keep our primaries closed. Dorothy this, Dorothy that. So I was on my feet quite a bit running around just talking to folks. And 100 new people I didn't even know. Was phenomenal. So we had a fantastic event with the 300 plus folks there. It'll only be bigger and better next year. And hopefully we're going to continue to grow the party despite what some of those in the media continue to perpetuate a lot of misinformation about what we're doing. What we are doing though, now we've all zoomed in onto the caucus. Anybody in here not know that the Secretary of State, Legislature, and the Governor signed into law a bill that took away your presidential primary? Does everybody already know that? Yes? Good. Good. We've been getting that message out. So anyway, we're having a caucus, a Firehouse Caucus. We are locked into it. Some people are saying, well, we could have gone until the last minute before October 1st had there been a special session. That didn't happen. We didn't get the March primary back as was requested in the summer meeting that we held in Challis by the State Central Committee. So we are doing this caucus, and I want to tell you what, it is phenomenal the amount of work folks have done to make this a success. Back about, when we first got our plan approved by the RNC, we had to start going around to the counties and the legislative districts to explain to them how the Firehouse Caucus works. You have to remember that the argument on removing the March primary was to save $2.7 million. Wow. It's going to cost us a couple $100,000 to pull off a presidential caucus. Yep. By the people. Paper ballots. Hand count. Unbelievable, but that's what we have, that we had put into our laps. We couldn't be more excited. I also want you to know, after Idaho decided to do the caucus, guess who fell in line next? Utah, Nevada. Other states are now doing a caucus. What just happened with removing Trump off the Colorado ballot? I spoke to the chair, co-chair there, and they were ready to run with the Firehouse Caucus, but it looks like Trump will be allowed to be on the ballot. So there are options when state governments who are Democrat decide they don't want to put our number one, right now he's top in line as far as percentage-wise on a ballot. There are options. The people can do it. I want you to know that Michelle Hamilton and I, a lot of you know her, she was our first vice chair and she's been involved for about 15, 16 years. We drove around the state and attended these meetings and explained how this was going to work. You have to have a location, you have to have a caucus coordinator, and you have to have a caucus captain. So let's take Custer County, because my husband is the Custer County chairman. There's going to be 3 locations, Mackey, Challis, and Clayton. The folks from Stanley will come over. We don't have a lot of Republicans in Stanley. So they're going to drive over to Clayton, because we're kind of short on people. There will be 3 locations. The caucus captains run each one of those locations. The caucus coordinator oversees to make sure everybody's okay. They got their poll books in the mail. They got their ballots in the mail. They've got their signage in the mail, which we have prepared a lot of. So we have got, here we're going to be sending everything out to them. Please turn off cell phones. Arrows directing people where to go. Acceptable forms of ID. Idaho driver's license or ID card, U.S. passport, federal photo ID card, tribal ID card, concealed weapons carry. 5 things. I don't see a Costco card on there, and I do not see, which has been taken in numerous places, and I do not see college IDs. Okay? That law was passed last year. that ready to go. We have tons of signage. We have our messaging, Idaho caucus, and we are really working hard to make sure everybody has a successful caucus. So I'm going to take an example here in Ada County. LD Cheryl Hurd is the legislative district chair for 20 or 21? 20, thank you. 20, she has already isolated her venue, because you got to remember, in Ada County, you guys are like about 10, 15 square miles max, unlike Custer County, which is much, much, much larger. And so she's going to have one venue, Capital Church, for the people who have precincts in 20. You will go to Capital Church at noon on Saturday, March 2nd. Oh my goodness, we're right before Super Tuesday. That makes us the 5th state. There's 4 in February we're going to be dealing with, and we're going to be number 5. We will be the first one in March. So we're very excited about that. Capital Church, she will have the precincts lined up. I believe there's 21 maybe precincts in LD 20. They will be lined up with their own poll books. You will come in with one of your accepted forms of ID. You will show them your driver's license or concealed carry or whatever, and then you're going to sign the book. Then they're going to stamp your hand, because there's going to be a couple thousand people there, so we have to stamp your hand so that when you go down to the hall where they're going to be giving out the ballot, they can say, okay, you're okay. They will stamp it again, showing that you have voted. You will put your ballot into the box once you've checked off who you want. We have 6 candidates. Donald Trump sent in his $50,000 and his registration fee, everything notarized, very first. Then we had, DeSantis was second. I think it was Nikki Haley was third, if I'm correct. Vivek Ramaswamy was fourth. Chris Christie was fifth. And we have Ryan Binkley from Texas. That gentleman has already hit all of the 99 precincts in Iowa. Wow. So he may be an unknown, but he's getting whatever message out that he wants to get out. So all 6 have paid $50,000, so $300,000 of that will be used toward the caucus. Initially, we have $125,000 we have to spend, that's our biggest expense, to get postcards out to every one of you that'll say Dorothy Moon, Community Center, Stanley, March 2nd at noon. So you'll know exactly where you're going. Now the thing is, we're using the list from December 31st. We've already obtained it from the Secretary of State's office, and so wherever you were on December 31st, that is going to be the location you vote in. So if you moved from Canyon County up to Kootenai County in January, I just suggest don't. Hold off on it until after March 2nd. Anyway, so what you can do is then travel back down to Canyon County, wherever you were on December 31st, go see your family and friends, go out for dinner, it's a Saturday, vote, and then fly back up to Kootenai County. Okay, so that's the one requirement. I'd really advise don't change your address or try to. These will not be forwarded. So that's, and let me get into the numbers. The numbers are just astounding. 580,000 are affiliated Republican. Of the total number, 275,000 are unaffiliated, about 28%. Only 126,000 are Democrat. It's amazing how we can't get some really good conservatives into some of these seats here in town. Anyway, so we have 976 precincts statewide. That's a pretty big number, which means every one of them will have a poll book about this size or maybe a little larger, depending on how many names, for every single one of those 976 locations. And I told you about District LD 20. They're going to have 21 of them lined up like that. So everybody's going to be covered. You will all have a place to go vote for your presidential choice. Anyway, so of those, this was interesting, of the 976 precincts, Canyon Precinct 910 has 2,694 voters. What was also revealed, Bingham County Precinct 27 had 0. So there's some anomalies out there. We're kind of finding that while we're doing this caucus work. So anyway, these are things we can do a deep dive into over the next 2 months. But we are very excited. We only have 4 precincts left. By the end of today or tomorrow, they will be assigned with a caucus captain, or they will be enjoined with another event location. And then we're going to have everybody covered. We never thought we would be at this place in this time having that many of them covered. We thought we'd have about 2/3 of them or 3/4 of them covered. So the enthusiasm is there. Contrary to some of the media who want to see this fail, the thing is it doesn't fall on us, the Republican Party. We've done everything we can do to make this a success. This will fall on the chairs of those counties. They will own it. If they don't make sure they put on a good event and re-enfranchise the citizens who have been disenfranchised with that law that took away our presidential primary in March. So, even if you don't want to see me or my staff or the Republican Party be successful with this, it's not going to bode well for you if you're the one who lets it fail. Okay? So I'm just letting you know, everybody knows we're doing everything we can. And it is going to be great. We have some people who are going to have cookies in the back, pork sliders, I don't know. Some people are going to have food. We're going to have these young folks here that I just met. Thank you for being here. I'd love to see the fresh crop of Republicans, hopefully, fingers crossed. And I believe that in some, where's Kirsten Lucas? Where's she at? Right here. We're talking about possibly having a really cute little voter box for young folks to come in, because minors can come in with their parents, contrary to some who have reported that kids can't come and one parent's going to have to stay home, they're not going to be able to vote. Yeah, they are. You can bring those kiddos with you so they can see the process and see how much fun it is to vote. So anyway, everybody can do whatever they want at their caucus to a limit. We will know what everybody's doing. So the caucus is on track. March 2nd at noon. We figured if people are snowed in, since March is typically a very snowy month, that you can get your car dug out. You can get up there by noon and get in before dark and the roads get slick. So that was all by design. From noon till about 1:30 at the latest. So any place that has large numbers of people, we figure it's going to take you an hour to an hour and a half to run people through getting credentialed and getting in to vote. And then they can leave, or please stay and witness the count. I want people all over the place witnessing the count. That'd be fantastic. And then they will send it into us and we will start giving out the preliminary numbers. We will collect everything in another box coming from all of these 900 plus locations, and we will then go through them to make sure that we canvass everything. But we're looking forward to it. I think the candidates are looking forward to it. I think DeSantis has already committed. We've heard from him. He does want to come. I'm sure Binkley will come. President Trump, hope he comes. I hope they all come. I want them all to come. So to give you an opportunity to see what they stand for. At the beginning, before you vote, we will have up on a screen, there's no screens here today, but there's normally screens. We will have a screen with a loop, 5 minutes for each candidate. So if you're not sure who you want to vote for, watch the presentations. They have 5 minutes each. We expect each candidate to send some beautiful, really high tech video coming in. There will be probably more entertaining than we can imagine. So, you might want to watch those before you go and vote. But if you have to get back to work, because some people said, oh no, everybody's working on a Saturday. Not last I checked. I thought Tuesdays were harder to get to than a Saturday. But anyway, on Saturday, if you have to get back to work, come in, say, hey, I've got to get back to work, I want to go vote. You can go vote immediately. So we're not going to lock the door behind you and keep you trapped. And the reasoning why is because this is not a 50% plus one like the 2012 caucus. How many of you participated in the 2012 caucus? You guys were locked in there and you voted in rounds until you got the 50% plus one. Everybody was wearing everybody down. You've got to vote for this person, no, this person. Just vote for them so we can get out of here. Anyway, this one is a plurality. If they get, let's say Trump got 40%, DeSantis got 40%, let's say Chris Christie got 20%. 20%. Anyway, then it's all proportional. We have 32 delegates. We split them up. However, if one of the candidates gets 50% plus one, they take them all. So, I think we can very easily see someone taking them all. Anyway, so that's the caucus. Does anybody have questions on the caucus? Yes, ma'am.
Cindy Beasley, DC 2307. I noticed you mentioned that driver's license would be a valid ID, and I mean, can still carry weapons, sorry. And I went to renew mine, and we had a long discussion with the people that work there about how it's not a valid ID, that is all they do is a background check, they don't verify your residency. So I'm just wondering what you might have learned about that.
But they can take it up with the Secretary of State, but right now in our laws, election laws, that is a valid form of ID. Yeah, so they might argue it, that it is a form of valid ID.
Do they do a background, I mean, do they do a residency check or?
They should be doing a residency check on the back. Yeah, I would sure think so, yes. Daniel?
Right. There is a provision, I believe, that if someone has to work on Saturday, that the company would give the employee time off to go vote. Is this the same as in the caucus, you think?
Oh, I don't know. I know that when my husband and I had a engineering business and we would allow our surveyors and the surveyors' assistants go and vote, they could take a couple of hours to go vote. We just did it because we thought it was their civic duty to go vote. I would like to see every business owner in this state grant their employees 1 to 2 hours to go vote. That would be great. I would rather see people vote on election day or caucus day as opposed to early voting. I think election day is important. Yes.
Nate Ritchie, BC 1716. Just a point of clarification on the noon time. That's in both time zones, correct?
It's noon in Mountain Time. It's 11 a.m. Pacific Time. Everybody's doors open at the same time. You don't open it a minute earlier. So if there's a line outside, yes, open the doors fast, get them in fast. And they can wait in the lobby until they get credentialed to go vote. Yes, but there should be enough. The only bottleneck I see in this caucus, if you do not have enough volunteers to help credential them and look at their license, and you know, if you get bottled up because you have 500 names in your poll book, then have somebody else come over there and say, can you get your ID out please and state your name. Let one person look in the book while the other one is grabbing the ID to show it to the person with the poll book and get the signature. So there's ways to save seconds in between every one of these, but each caucus captain will be responsible for that. Yes?
How are you going to get those volunteers? How can somebody go volunteer for the caucus?
I am so glad you asked that, because that was my next point. So Laurel, back here at Morgan, she is one of my staff members. She's in the back, and we have a list for volunteers for the caucus specifically. So if you put down your name and number, we will find, if you know your precinct, fantastic. If not, we can find out where you're at, and then we'll give it to the caucus captain and coordinator so they can call you to have you help them. You know, it's not just a matter of the poll books. You got greeters at the door. You're going to have somebody come in and say, "Egads, I left my postcard at home. I don't even know where I'm, which group I'm in, which precinct." Just say, "Calm down. We're going to have a map of that legislative district or that county and say, show us where you live. Okay, you're in this precinct. Go over to the lady with the blonde hair and black glasses or the man, with the blue shirt on." So we will have greeters to get them to the right spot so they don't get flustered. We don't want anybody to get anxious. You will be able to vote as long as you are at the right location for your precinct.
So are they going to have all the same equipment that we had for the regular voting last year and so forth?
Well, sadly, no. That's kind of sad. I was in Jerome County, and I had a presentation with about, 100 people at Glenita. And the county clerk was there, very helpful. He said, our ballot boxes, you're welcome to use them. And the cardboard voting booths, you can use them. Then for some reason, I don't know if the Idaho Association of Counties or where the word got out that we could not use them. But remember that the AG Labrador came out and stated that publicly funded buildings can be utilized and should be utilized since it's their taxpayer buildings for elections. We already do, but for some reason some people thought a caucus was different from an election. In a way it is, but you still want to make sure the citizens of this state can do their civic duty and vote. You would have also thought that the ballot boxes and the cardboard voting booths would also be your property. But apparently, I'm going to talk to Secretary of State McGrain, and I've asked about us using them, and we have not gotten a reply back. We want to use those. I know in Custer County, they're buying all new ballot boxes, so they're going to be just giving them to the Central Committee to use, and they're the metal ones that you can lock for Mackey and Chalice and Clayton. So, work together. You are civil servants. Your county clerk is the civil servant who should be helping you to get there to vote and to make sure the process goes smoothly. And for anybody who would throw a roadblock up, that's unfortunate, but people, you will know it. If you don't see a traditional ballot box there, if somebody got a plastic tub from, Home Depot and put duct tape around it and cut a hole in it, which is probably going to have to happen in some locations, then you will know that your county clerk did not provide materials for us to have a successful caucus. Okay? Come on, folks, do your due diligence. Yet they work for you. Anybody else questions on the caucus? Yes, sir.
I was wondering with regard to being able to vote, because you mentioned your own county, you mentioned all these other counties more out to the east. That's especially an issue. A lot of good conservatives that farm and stuff that harvest and they don't get the time off to vote like you were suggesting. What would be the impact, if any, and what could we do to possibly help get these good people out to vote by passing a House resolution that would kind of declare holidays for elections, basically?
Well, it's probably not going to happen. As far as people not getting out to vote because they want to be out in the field working or tilling or whatever they're doing, people make choices. Some people have standing nail appointments on Saturday. Hey, you make a choice. I would prefer that people make the choice to try to save our state and save our country with a Republican president, good presidential candidate, instead of sitting at home and doing other things. Maybe we can light a fire under them and let them know, and we're going to heavily advertise the fact that we have the caucus coming. Hey, save the date. You all know it's March 2nd. Put it on your calendar. There should be no excuse why no one can make it.
Why I mentioned the resolution is that kind of help with that.
Well, this is the deal. We are running our caucus, not the state government. So this is our issue, not theirs. Okay? And I just assume keep it that way right now. Anybody else any more questions on the caucus? Oh, yes, sir.
So caucus day is March 2nd. When do you expect to have results once the statewide count has been finished?
I'm expecting about 3 hours after, probably about 3 o'clock, we'll start getting results in fast and furious. Kira, my executive director, has already got a phone bank set up, a number no one will know but us until the last day. And then we will make sure that those phones are open. They're just going to record how many votes for everybody at each location. So it's going to be fast and furious, but we will keep a running total. She's very good at that, and we would just keep it updated because, believe me, nationally, a lot of people want to know what's going on as well, of course.
And that'll be preliminary, and then we're going to actually canvass.
Yes, yeah, so that'll be preliminary, and I'm sure we'll have pretty close preliminary numbers, and then we'll canvass it afterwards. Oh, you're welcome. Anyone else? Okay, let's see what else. I think, where are we at? Almost, we're doing good. I said about 45 minutes to an hour. Anything else, Kira, we need to talk about? I do want to mention that our legislators, Glenita was our legislator of the year. She's done some very good work. Kira, our executive director, was not administrator, you were just administrator of the year, yes. She's done a phenomenal job for this party. If you would like to start getting the opinion pieces that I put out weekly, go to the idgop.org, put in your email, and then we will send it to you. And I know our email list has grown exponentially. A lot of people like the opinion pieces. You now know where the party stands on issues, and we need to make sure people know that we're going to fight for what the grassroots want. And those have been going out now for about a year now. We've been putting out opinion pieces every week through the Times newspaper. Sadly, a lot of newspapers will not post those once we send them out. Anyway, I know the Idaho Statesman, I didn't mean to look at you, it just happened. It would be nice if those opinion pieces would go out every week, because I sure think they're actually pretty good. Anyway, but it would be nice if statewide we could have a larger presence, but a lot of people are trying to stop that. And, we are working hard. We have a bunch of happy folks in the Republican Party. Even on these resolutions, when we were passing them, and I've been involved for quite a while because I was a legislator before my run for Secretary of State, before this position. And before that, I was very much involved in the Republican Party. I've never seen a meeting go as flawlessly as this one, or the one in Chalice went really well too after we got through a couple of obstacles. But my first meeting up in Moscow, they were throwing metal chairs around. My son Dane, he went to that meeting and he said, "Mom, do they act like this all the time?" I said, "Geez, I didn't know they did." But anyway, it's a new Republican Party. We're trying to be civil. I wish some would be as civil as we're trying to be civil. And that's all I can say is do better. Sir?
Where do we stand with Glenita being removed as the vice chairman of the Health and Welfare Committee? What happened to that?
You know, that's unfortunate. I don't know what's going to happen. I guess they're going to have their Senate meeting sometime, caucus meeting, I would think. Seems like there's fewer and far between caucus meetings anymore. I know one year, my last year as legislator, we had one caucus meeting. We should have been having them weekly to where the legislators could talk together. It's pretty sad. It's important that they bounce ideas off of each other and not just have one person ramrod everything through these halls. So it is important. I don't know what's going to happen with that.
I haven't heard anything.
Okay, haven't heard anything. So lack of communication, transparency, it's not acceptable in these halls. So hopefully that gets resolved quickly. If not, I guess they're putting a Democrat in for that position, correct?
Or they said they can leave it vacant.
Oh, leave it vacant. Okay, all right. Well, that should not happen. That should not happen. Okay, any other questions? I want to thank you so much for coming out. All the legislators, please stand. I want to show how many of them are interested in you all and your grassroots. Segueing over to the state to see how much money we're going to save the taxpayers. Anyway, looking forward to it. Have a wonderful year. I'll be seeing you around as well as other people from our staff. Thank you, and everybody have a great day.